What's up, squad? This is Brandon from the band Tucson. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, I'm going to touch on a story that I saw a couple days ago, and it didn't catch my eye at first. But once I started digging into it, big freaking deal. And this deal that is so big is around Turkey. So, as you all know, I constantly harp on this channel about geopolitics, and things are either growing and collapsing, right? And what we saw over the last administration with President Biden, with the sanctions on Russia was contracting, right? And the biggest beneficiary of this was Turkey. Turkey, just like when the Ottoman Empire was contracting, the biggest beneficiary was the Russian Empire. These two units occupy the same space as bridges for the Eurasian continent. And because of that, it's either conquer or coalesce, right? And what happened is Turkey has been benefiting. So they've been conquering. They've been building ties, taking relationships, establishing relationships. President Erdogan, ever since the failed coup, has just been geopolitical grand leader on steroids. He's been winning. He has been winning politically, industrially. Some will argue economically he has not, but I believe economically he has, due to sustained success. It may not be reflected in the cost of the lira, the lira to USD pricing, but the ability to continuously build relationships, have political say in his region and extra regional matters, all this time getting stronger and stronger while maintaining power at home and support at home domestically, I think has been phenomenal. It's been one of the great geopolitical, I would say one of the great geopolitical, I won't say performance, but just as far as the ability to carry this out, absolutely phenomenal. And he just doubled down on that. Or I can say Turkey has just doubled down on its success. Abdullah Öcalan, which is considered to be one of the primary founders of the PKK, the Kurdistan Worker Party, has asked for this group to lay down his arms and possibly disband. Now, the PKK has been a thorn in Turkey's side, and it has been one of the great threats to the country. So the Kurds, as you know, I like to call them the largest landless nation in the world. It can be roughly around 40 million plus people in this region, and they occupy the borderlands of Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Iran. And they're big advocates in all these countries, primarily, most famously, Iraq and Turkey, and now of course Syria. But these group has been great advocates of nationhood, and they've been great allies of the United States as the United States have operated in this area. They helped bring down Saddam Hussein. They helped bring down Bashar al-Assad, etc. And they've done a lot of work in the region. They're really commercially savvy. They've made some money through oil, these various Kurdish communities. But the PKK, the Kurdish community that has rebelled in Turkey, and their aims, of course, is they want more autonomy. And there's been a lot of conflict. It's been said that as much as 40,000 plus people have died since their creation through to terrorist related and military related activity between the state of Turkey and the PKK. So with their jail leader, who has been in jail since the late 90s, I believe 99. So he's been in jail since the late 90s. Um, with him calling for this, and it seems this time both sides are actually taking it serious, and PKK is talking about laying down their arms. This is following, of course, a $14 billion, and of course, the Turkish military is talking about standing down as well, to allow room for negotiation. Now, this is after a $14 billion investment has been announced in the southeast region of Turkey where the Kurds predominantly operate. Kurds are expected to be 15 to 20% of Turkey's population. This is why it's a very big deal. We're talking about nearly 1 in 5 Turkish citizens is a Kurd. This is a and the fact that they dominate a region gives them even greater power. So pretty much southeast region of Turkey is Kurds land. So the fact that you got Syria, uh, this group PKK is headquarters are considered now in northern Iraq. They, of course, they're going to thrive in places where there's not much governance, but previously they occupied parts of Syria. They found harbor in Syria. You can understand why it was so important for Erdogan to have a play in the rebuilding of Syria after the fall, during the fall, or the challenge, and the fall of Bashar al-Assad, former president Bashar Assad in Syria, is because he knew that Syria was one of the locations that the PKK had found some type of refuge in before, and even though they left Syria some years ago, it was always an option that can come back and bite him. So what this really does is really allows the opportunity for peace at home. As I said, Erdogan taking his discontent minorities, and this is a sign of a great leader, of course, is how well do he treat the minorities, the least represented of the group. And the fact that this is a minority group that has very strong uh, indigenous roots, such as language, culture, customs, etc., in this region, the fact that he's able to go ahead and invest money, said we're going to invest money that is intended to raise the commercial aspects of this region, make these people more productive and give them a higher per capita income that they can put in their pocket and earn a livelihood. And on top of that, you have one of the founders of this group, this PKK group, or primarily the founder of this PKK group, telling them, let's get on board and let's come to the negotiation table and let's try to make something happen within Turkey to unify the country. All these things together is basically going to make President Erdogan stronger than ever. What happens, of course, as you've seen, as countries go through troubling times and there are vultures on the outside, they look to find discontent groups. And previously, PKK has been that group. So if a country wanted to go at Turkey, what they would do is they would fund the PKK. And there will be a proxy war. And this is a very dangerous thing because the PKK is already starting out with roots within Turkey. And it's only a matter of time before a proxy war, PKK will want some type, just like with Russia, Ukraine. Ukraine wants all the land. Russia wants a piece of the land. And the same thing will happen with Turkey and the Kurds of the PKK. So the fact that PKK has been asked to disarm and disband, the fact that Erdogan is investing in his community heavily, it's a quid pro quo, a great quid pro quo, if you ask me, on solidifying the nation and making it even stronger than it already is. This comes at a very interesting time as President Trump is allowing for Russia to finally breathe. He's offering a gateway or a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, that's going to be very, very difficult because President Zelensky of Ukraine do not want peace with these Russians. They want to fight. There's a lot of bad blood. There's a lot of people getting their palms greased. There's a lot of things going on with Ukraine. But as we saw, President Zelensky is very thoroughly against ceasefire, at least without security guarantees, which is understandable, of course. But Russia's starting to breathe a little bit. And now Turkey is solidifying. So these two giants are really going to be looking at each other, giants in two different ways. Why Russia has been trying and struggling in the geopolitical order because of the sanctions and oppression from the Biden administration on them, Turkey has really cleaned house, and they have basically made themselves this regional hub. In fact, they're expected to get a first shipment of natural gas from Turkmenistan, which is a totally other story, but very, very interesting because Turkmenistan is pretty much beholden to China. There's a freaking natural gas giant. I think it has the fourth largest gas reserve and fourth largest natural gas exporter in the world. Turkmenistan is an actual beauty, but when it comes to natural gas, but it's kind of beholden to China because China is its primary customer. So China gets to dictate things. So it tried to do some things through South Asian pipeline, TAPI, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India. But of course, those three countries do not work together very well. So due to security concerns within and with each other, TAPI is still in a dream phase at this point. So what's going to actually happen is Turkmenistan is running pipelines through Iran to Turkey, which is basically a regional swap deal where some of Turkmenistan gas will stay in Iran and Iran will release some of its gas to go to Turkey. So this is building regional roots between these countries, deep economic roots. Economic roots leads to political alliances and basically mutual benefit. So these regimes will support each other because they all are benefiting together, which makes them more solidified in their home countries. So you put all these things together, it's absolutely phenomenal for Turkey. We'll see where it goes, but a nation mending past grievances with minority groups and solidifying under the banner of nationhood is a very, very, is always going to be icing on a cake. So I'm interested to see what's next, and it's really going to be interesting to see how relationships evolved as if Ukraine in the West, when I say West, I mean Europe, if Ukraine and Europe allows Russia to get back at the table and Russia looks around and they're going to want, Russia's going to want their spot back. They're going to want to be the bridge. They want to be the energy giant that controls Europe. And Turkey has made a play for that role from a regional way. And it's been a diplomatic tour de force. Like the way that Turkey has built relationships from Morocco to the west, to Turkmenistan to the east, to Somalia to the south, as well as mending relationships through Cyprus and Greece, etc. It's going to be, and as well as the pipeline flow, which they're expected to deliver to Europe. It's really going to be interesting. So if you have any insight on the story, I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is a great story. If you have any experience in the region, I'd love to hear what you got to say. As always, like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Until next time, take care. Bantu up.